All right. Hello, agents. Thanks for joining us today. We'll give everybody about a minute to settle in before we get started here. All right. Welcome, agents. Today we are excited to have Todd Wyss. Todd is the Executive Vice President of Life and Annuities for Heartland National. Todd was licensed in 2004 and has sold Medicare to over 750 clients before coming into his current role, with $10 million in annuity sales in just the last 6 years. He brought his last IMO from $0 to $350 million per year in annuity sales while simultaneously teaching Medicare agents how to effectively sell annuities. Known by his colleagues as Professor Todd, today he will share with us details on MYGAs, what sets Heartland National apart, and other skills to boost sales. With that being said, take it away, Todd.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that introduction. And yes, now I work directly for Heartland National Life Insurance Company. I've been an agent for a long time, so we try to teach through experience here. And Nick Yonter is the broker sales manager for you guys. He's getting his insurance license. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Heartland first, kind of what sets us apart. Then I'm going to dive into the product here. So if everybody has questions, I don't know if there's a chat box, but just type them in or save them to the end, and we'll do a little Q&A at the end of this. So let's kick this thing off. We built a cool financial piece, and I know that's too small to read. I'm going to zoom into that in the next couple slides, but if you want a copy of our financials, just send us an email after this. So let me start out with our timeline here. We bought an insurance company in 2008. It was Dixie National. We bought an insurance company, changed the name to Heartland National Life Insurance Company. First thing we did is we entered an agreement with Equitable Life and Casualty as our reinsurance and our third-party administrator to print policies and stuff like that. So we've been a big fan of Equitable, now Silent, for a long time. We're friends with them, and that was our first partnership we started was with Equitable back in the day. Then we launched a Medicare supplement. We wanted to grow, so we expanded in 36 states in 2017. Then we realized what our friends were doing. They were selling a bunch of annuities, and we've been selling Medicare, health insurance, cancer insurance for years. We're like, we should get into the annuity space. So during COVID, we started building this product. It took us a little while to build. In November, so like 1 year ago, we launched this multi-year guaranteed annuity, and we've been, doing really well since we launched this. Now, since we got so much on the books, we're actually looking to build a fixed indexed annuity that should be out next quarter. So hopefully next time we have a call or a few calls after this, we'll be talking about our fixed indexed annuity. But we also do cancer insurance, heart attack and stroke insurance. We'll probably do a new Medicare supplement, a new hospital indemnity plan. So we do health and wealth, but today's call is just about MYGAs. So let's meet the team here. So Chris McDaniel is the owner. I'm the VP of annuities, Nick COO. You got Julio right there as one of the broker sales managers for annuities. And then Nick Yonter, same thing, sales manager for annuities. And the cool thing is almost all of us are insurance agents. Julio, Bella, Nick, they're all taking their insurance license. Nick missed it by like 2 questions this weekend. So next time we talk, Nick will have his insurance license. So we are a little bit different company because we think of things as an agent perspective and as a client perspective, how we can make things easier for you and the client. And we're not just a company that, doesn't know what's going on. We are in the trenches. As you told before, I've sold $10 million the last 5-6 years in annuities. I still sell Medicare. Almost everybody on here is selling insurance. So we know what it's like being out there in the field. So we want to help you because we know what you're going through. So let's talk about some of our sales numbers. See, the tops are health. We just see we're getting more and more 30 million, 35 million, 40-some million, 50-some million on the books for Medicare. So those are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But if you look down the bottom, I did a chart here for in-force annuity premium. We had literally zero in force in 2023, and we've submitted over 200 million over the last 12 months, and we've got over 180 million issued right now. So we are growing and growing and growing. I'll dive into our numbers here in a bit. This is one of the last pages on our financial stuff. I think it's important for people to know our AM Best rating, our outlook, and everything else. So we are B++ right now. Outlook is stable, actions affirmed. But the two last columns are a little bit unique: risk-based capital and solvency. Banks need an 8% risk-based capital. We've got 1,160. Solvency ratio is really high too. And we sorted this one by RBC ratio. Equitrust has a little bit over 1,000, and then it just kind of goes down from there. So I don't know who you're selling right now, but all this is public information. You can find it on AM Best's website or any things they filed. But these are our true numbers. So I'll just leave it up there for a second for you to look at your other carriers. But we are a smaller company, but we're very, very strong. So with that, our investments, we got 137 million in different things: bonds, mortgages. And then that bottom one there shows where we have our different bonds. And on the right side, just showing we're going to build a new hospital in the future. We're building an FIA. I want to get into life insurance too. Even though it says Heartland National Life, we don't do any life besides the MYGA. So I want to get into maybe a final expense, maybe an IUL. Not sure what we want to build yet. I think an IUL might go perfect with the annuity side. Then a new Medicare supplement, and we do want to expand into more states. So with that, let me talk a little about our process here. It's really easy to get appointed. I'll talk about that later. But let's say you submit an application, okay? We double check the agent status first. We can't move anywhere. We can't do step 2 until we check the agent to make sure they're done. Once we do that, whether it's a Firelight app or a paper app, it should be scanned and in our system for us to view in 1 to 2 business days. Okay. As soon as it's scanned for us to view, we create a policy number and you got it on the website. So probably within 2 days of it being submitted, you'll have the information on our website with notes on there of what the next steps are. We do suitability here in-house. So we got a suitability team, and then when they're gone, I help out. Nick helps out suitability-wise. We do all that here in Kansas City. Once suitability is done, we reach out to our TPA and said, go ahead and submit the transfer forms. So you could submit an app, and it could be approved within 2 business days, and that transfer form could go out on day 3. We are very, very quick. So with that, let me tell you how quick we are. I took 2024 numbers, and we have a 45-day rate lock. So you got 45 days to send us the money to lock in that current rate. So a lot of things aren't funded. So I just deleted the last 45 days of data. So let's just assume it's almost like October 1st. So most of these numbers are from the beginning of the year to October 1st. We had a 93.8% issue of all our apps. Our non-qualified apps, so just money in the bank, took about 17 days to issue. Qualified, since it's from a retirement account, from where they work, it takes longer to get the correct forms and stuff, took 27 days. And from the sign date on the app, it showing up in our system was 2.3 days. So I think that's pretty quick there. You might be like, well, how many apps did you sell? Well, we've done 1,746 apps. I redid these numbers 5 minutes before this webinar started, so these are accurate as of 11/20. We got 221 million submitted, 33 million pending, 189 issued, and our goal for next year is about 500 million. Some companies, towards the end of the year, they're like, hey, we've sold enough, we want to slow down. We don't. We want to put our foot in the gas. We want to keep on going. We want to do 500 million next year in MYGA business. Last thing that makes us unique is our agency services team. So we have a team of people right now. They're all ladies. They answer the phone. They help you out with contracting questions, any commissions, things like that. They are right outside my office and Nick's office. So if they have a question, they grab us and we come out there and we help the agent out, or they forward the call to us. But every single week, we sit down with them for 20 to 30 minutes going over different products. Hey, what did you guys hear this week? Here's how to answer it. So we are working with them to make sure they are up to date on product development changes, just the market in general, so they know how to help you out. They're not agents, but we treat them like they are agents, keeping them up to date with everything going on. So if you ever call us up, you're talking to a human being, it's not transferred to India or something like that. It is a call here in Kansas City. There's no hold time. And if we do have to start putting people on hold, we're going to hire more people. Phone rings, boom, they answer it. We help you out. That what makes us a little unique. So I don't think a lot of companies do that. So that's one reason to work with us. So that's the company side. Let's dive into product here. So we have a multi-year guaranteed annuity. And hopefully everybody knows what that is. But multi-year, more than 1 year, it's guaranteed. So once you sign up, you're guaranteed that rate for the time. So if you sign up for a 3-year, you're getting 5% guaranteed for 3 years. Doesn't matter what happens during those 3 years, you get 5% each year. If you go a little bit longer, you get a better rate. So our 5-year, we guarantee 5.4%. Our 7-year, we guarantee 5.45. Our 10-year, we guarantee 5.55. Once you sign up, you're locked into that rate. As long as you fund it within 45 days, you get that rate. Now, I'm sure people here have been following the news. This happened November 7th, 2024. Feds are going to lower rates by 25 basis points. Well, here's a chart. Take a couple seconds to look at this chart. These are the federal funds target rate, and it goes back from the year 2000 all the way to today. 2000, we were at over 6%, and then you see it drop down. So we're down to 1% was like the rate back then. If you go by the MYGA, you got a 1% rate, technically. Then it rose up to a little bit over 5%. And then when 2008, the housing stuff happened, boom, dropped all the way down almost to 0. It stayed there for a long time. 2016, slowly started itching up, but only still got to like 2.5. Then COVID happened, boom, bottom dropped out again. Then they raised everything back up. So now we're the highest it's been since 2000. And I'm really just showing you this because this is a cool thing to show your clients to encourage them to get the 7-year, the 10-year. Yeah, they could get a 3-year, but when that thing's done, well, it could be, 4.5, 4.75 now. That could be back down to 0 or 1 in 3 years. Well, it'd be better to get the better rate for the 7 to 10 years. So I showed this chart to all my clients I'm meeting with personally right now to encourage them to go the 7 years, the 10 years, because personally I believe that's best for them. But really, it's whatever's best for your client. But I think they like the 7-year and 10-year if you show them the past history. So with that, even though Fed lowered rates, we had to take a small decrease. Our 3 years going from 5 to 4.9 this Friday, 11/22. Okay, not much. We actually am having a meeting. I'm trying to get us to raise our 10-year a little bit, maybe our 7-year too. I want our 10-year to really stand out and have a really good rate because I think that's best for clients and best for the agents here. Let's look at current rates. These are rates as of, I think, Mondays when I pulled these from the internet here. One company had a 5.05 rate on the 3-year. The same exact company, though, has a 4.9 because the top rate doesn't allow you to take any money out. We let you take out withdrawals. I'll go over that in more detail here, but our rate will be the same as their rate going forward. So we should have the top 3-year. Our 5-year is 5.4, competition 5.25, but you can't take any money out. 5.12, can't take any money out. 7-year, we're at 5.45. 5.3 is the next best one. These guys are 5.2, but that's simple interest. We do compound interest. So your interest gains interest with ours versus simple. This is a 10-year product, 5.55. These guys get 5.15. These guys give you 5%. Our 3-year is 5%. Why would you buy their 10 at 5 when our 3-year is 5? So we are trying to be at the top. A lot of companies, like I said, lowered their rates because they don't want to. They're done. They filled up their bucket. They hit their goals for the year. We still want all the business. So please keep on looking at us going forward. Here's all the states we're in right now. So if it's orangish color, you can write in that state. We want to get in a bunch more. So part of my job is to help us file and get in more states. It's not an overnight decision. California might take us 2 years to get into, but we are going to try to get into almost all these states right now. In some of these states, we have our health there. But since we were new to the annuity side, they wouldn't let us sell annuities until we filed and showed them that we know what we're doing. And obviously we do, so we can file in Louisiana, North Carolina, but it's a huge process. So we're going to file all states at once to make it easier for everybody. So hopefully next year you'll see new states popping up, every few months, hopefully. Now let's dive into product details here. Ages 18 to 90, pretty simple there. But I'm going to highlight what sets us apart. Minimum premium, $5,000. That's it. Qualified or not, we take $5,000. If you compare us to other carriers out there, sometimes you'll see, oh, well, qualified, we take this, the non-qualified, we take this. I'm like, why? Just keep it simple. $5,000. And us, no banding. Other carriers go, well, if you give us $150,000, you get a better rate. Why? Money's money. $5,000, $10,000, doesn't matter. So you give me $5,000, you give me $1 million, you get the same rate. I'm not giving people that have more money a better rate. That's just silly. So everyone gets the same rate with us. $1 million right now is our max, but we can make exceptions. So if you do $1 million or less, flies through without any questions besides suitability. Anything over $1 million, we might have to dig into more details right now. But we have issued a 1.8, issued like a 1.2. I think we issued another 1.2. So we can do larger cases. As it went over 3, 5, 7, 10 year, our interest, we do compound our interest. We deposit daily and compound daily. I'm going to dive into that a little deeper so everyone understands this, because I get a lot of questions on daily compounding. But one of the things that sets us apart is our death benefit. It's full account value at death. A lot of companies, that's a rider. Oh, you want 5%? Well, it costs you 10 basis points to get the full death benefit. So you thought you're getting 9 or 5, now you're getting 4.9. So we compound daily, and even if a client passes away, we will continue to compound daily until we get that death certificate and pay out a claim. So we might not get that death certificate for, let's say, 60 days. Well, that person is still gaining interest for 60 days until we pay that out to the beneficiary. Another thing that makes us, forgot I had that slide on here, but that just tells about the death benefit right there. This next one right here is withdrawals, interest only after 30 days. We have an RMD rider, which I'll dive into here in a second, but you can take out the interest. So on the 3-year, it's 5%. After 30 days, you can start taking out that interest, or you could leave it in there. That's built in. A lot of other carriers have that as a rider. Once again, you think you're getting 5. Oh, I want to access the money. I get a lower rate. A lot of people have money in bank CDs. They don't offer any withdrawals. So an annuity is way better than a bank CD because 1, you get a better rate. 2, you can take out money. The money grows tax deferred. Oh, and by the way, any death benefit does avoid probate court in an annuity. It doesn't on a bank CD. So avoiding probate is cool, but that's good for all annuities, not just a MYGA here. So here's the withdrawal section. All these little slides like this I'm showing you are from an actual policy. So you can get a sample policy from us and read over all this stuff so you understand how it works. So if clients have questions, you can just pull up the sample policy. Oh, well, here's where it talks about the free withdrawals. So any interest that year can be withdrawn without a surrender charge or MBA. However, every policy anniversary, any interest that's not withdrawn is locked into your principal and your interest goes back to 0. So year 2, what I'm trying to say is year 2, you can't go back and say, oh, give me all the interest for year 1 and year 2. Nope. You can only take the interest during that policy year for the client. And once again, we can start kicking out interest after 30 days. Now let's dive in a little bit deeper into that. I made this fancy calculator, this fancy Excel sheet. Okay, it doesn't look like a whole lot here, but let me show you what this is. This is showing $100,000 growing because we deposit daily and compound daily. So it starts out getting $14.80 day 1, then $14.80 day 2. Well, $14.81 now. Now we're starting to compound. Compounding interest is I think Einstein said, the 8th wonder of the world. So the longer they leave their money in there, the more they're going to get. So on day 10, $14.81 still. Let's skip forward so I don't bore you guys to death. Once again, this example is $100,000 at 5.5% because that's our 10-year. Let's look at days 20 through 31. $14.84 now, $14.86 here. We pay once a month. February is coming up here pretty soon. So if someone gets interest only during February, it's only got 28 days. So in this scenario, they'd get $415.22. July's got 31 days. They'd get $459.81. So what I'm trying to say here is if clients are taking money every month, it's going to vary based on the number of days in that month. I get that question all the time. Well, why is this month higher and this month lower? It's just based on the number of days. And your first payment, it might take us a couple of days to process it. So maybe you send in the withdrawal request on, day 28. Well, we might not process it until 34 days later. So you might get 34 days of payment your first time. Then it's every month after that. So there's going to be a little fluctuation there. So if you are taking monthly interest, that is why it will be slightly different for everybody. I made this spreadsheet for annual, monthly, daily. If you guys want a copy of this, let me know. I can send it to you because I actually did this super, super long one here. You're like, what am I looking at? Well, I actually did the daily compound interest for 10 years. So if you leave the money in there, you can show the client every day what they're going to get for up to 10 years. And I'm happy to send this to you. I use it in my personal clients. We just get a lot of questions about the compounding daily. And I think this spreadsheet really helps clients understand that. So if you need this, let me know. We'll get it to you. So once again, here's our rates. We already went over interest is included, death benefits included. Here's our rider. 5% free withdrawal rider includes RMD. When we built this product, rates were not 5%. They were in the 4s, I think, when we started building this. So we go, well, maybe a client wants 5% free out. You could add this rider to take up to 5% free. Since our rates are over 5, this rider is not necessary right now. Especially if it's a non-qualified app, you should never add that right now. The other thing this rider does is includes RMDs. And if you sell work with retirement accounts, required minimum distributions are out of traditional accounts. They start at 3.77% and go up. My grandfather was 95 when he passed away. It was like 11.2% of his portfolio was his RMD. So let's say I signed him up, which I did sign him up for a policy when he was 90. Well, his RMD would be greater, let's say, than the 5%. So you'd have to add the rider. His interest would be 4.9. But when he turns 95 and that interest is RMD is 11%, we're allowing him to take out that full RMD with no penalty. So the RMD rider does reduce it, and I can work with you, but look at just the RMD schedule, the uniform lifetime table, and do the math. That will give you your RMD percentage. But I don't think your RMD is greater than 5.55% on the 10-year until you're about 84, I think. So right now, if you do the 10-year and the contract ends before they're 84, you probably don't need that rider because the interest is higher than the RMD. So I can answer questions on that later if you guys like. The other rider we have is the enhanced benefit rider. This is 15 basis points, so it costs a little bit more for this rider. Well, what does it do? Well, first of all, you have to have the contract in force for a year. Your confinement period is 90 days. Well, what is that? That's for like a nursing home. So you're in the policy starts a year, you're in the nursing home 90 days. You can take a one-time withdrawal up to the full account value. You could take half of it out. You could take, a certain percentage out, but you can take a one-time withdrawal up to the full amount if you want. It's got to start after the contract's issued. People always call me, well, I got a client at nursing home now. Can they buy this? Yes, they can buy this. We just won't pay out that nursing home benefit if they add that rider. We'll pay out the terminal illness benefit because if it gets diagnosed after the policy is issued, but it's got to be after the policy is issued. So if you're in a nursing home, yes, you can buy the product. You just don't get the nursing home benefit. But if you get terminally ill after the contract's issued, you can still get that. I'm not seeing a lot of people add this rider just because our terms are so short. But if you are doing a 10-year, you might want to look at it if they're worried about that. Okay, other things. You can't annuitize. We can't turn this into payments. We can do lifetime income only. We can do lifetime income with a guaranteed number of years, or we could just do a period certain, so we could just set up for a number of years between 5 and 30. If the client gets to go, hey, I got $100,000 in here. Hey, pay it to me over 30 years. Done. They pass away. Someone else gets the rest of the payments up until that 30-year time period. So that's pretty cool. Suitability. I think we're a little more lenient than some other carriers. I'm not too sure. But if the client has over $100,000, we'll protect up to 70% of their liquid. If their net worth is under $100,000, we can protect up to about 50% of their liquid. We always want to leave a pile of cash for the clients. We want to make sure in case there's an emergency, they got cash. So we never want to take all their money or protect all their money. We always want to leave them a pile of cash. And we can talk suitability later too, if you'd like. Once again, these are all the states we're live in. However, we do have a non-resident form I like to use. I'm going to highlight some of the benefits of it. Let's say the owner applicant owns or rents a separate address in the non-resident state. So maybe the client lives in California and we're not in California, but they own a house in another state. Well, you can write it in the other state if they're there. Other benefits or other ones, owner applicant has a prior relationship with the producer. The sale took place at the producer's primary office. The owner applicant was referred to the producer and the sale took place at the producer's office. However, with this, the bottom part's huge. Some states don't allow it. So if you're in a state that has an X, you can only buy the insurance in that state. So let's take New York, for example. I get a lot of calls from New York. Oh, I want to buy your policy. Great. Well, I got a second home in Florida. Can't do it. Even if Florida was your primary home, I could do it. But if you live in New York, that's your only resident state, there's no reason you can't drive across the state to PA and write it there because you've known the agent for 20 years. Can't do it. New York says you can only buy insurance in New York regardless of the reasons. That's it. But let's say someone's in California and your office is in Arizona and they drive to Arizona, you could write it on an Arizona app form. So we do allow that as long as you fill out that non-resident form. Other things, we can do a full Roth conversion. Policy gets issued first. Some agents write on the transfer form, convert this to a Roth. Well, it's got to be issued first. We put the policy information in there. Then we convert it to a Roth. And if the clients want, we can take the taxes out. So then we pay it. So the principal goes down a little bit because they pay taxes, but we can convert the whole thing to a Roth. Death benefit. We've probably had about 5 of these this year. But the cool one thing that's built into ours and not everybody else does is we let the spouse continue it. Spouse is the only one that can continue it. And the spouse doesn't even need to be on the original application. Let's say it's a non-qualified app. It's on the husband, one owner, the wife might not even be the beneficiary, but the spouse gets it. Hey, I'm the primary spouse. I can take this. So the spouses can continue it. Kids, nobody else can continue it. It's got to be a spouse to continue. If not, we can roll it out to something else, transfer exchange it, or we can do that payment option again. You can pay it out between 5 and 30 years. And that's a guaranteed payment. Even if that person passes away, we got to give it to somebody else for the remainder of the time period. So the payments are super cool as a death benefit if you want. A couple other things. We got a cool website. If you are writing apps, please use the website. This is where you could run the illustrations. You can go to Firelight and submit your apps that way. You can track all your new business. You can see corrections. You can see what's needed. Agents call us up all the time. Hey, what's needed? We log into the website. It says right here, here's your notes. You're happy to call us, but you don't need to because a lot of the information is going to be right there for you. So it's super, super easy. So hnlicagent.com. Here's kind of what it looks like. When I did this one, I wrote 15 apps. I think I'm up to 18 apps this year so far. But you can click annuity calculator right here. Run the illustration, type in the information, and you can click download your PDF so you can show it to clients. I'm shocked that some carriers don't run illustrations on the multi-year guaranteed annuity. Makes no sense to me. So you can run our MYGA illustrations. Now back to the website here. Maybe you want to do an app. You showed the illustration to your client. They like it. You click MYGA e-app. Boom. That logs you into Firelight. You just click application. You click your state. I'm in Kansas. And you start filling it out. Now, a lot of people get this. You're at 97%. You're like, where's the other 3%? What's going on? I thought I did this right. You click those two little V's going down. Boom, that pulls up everything you missed. You just click those pages, fix it, you're good to go. Now, one thing I want to encourage people to do is we have our transfer exchange form on here. I'm working with Nick to maybe make this easier for agents, but it's a process. But if you fill out a transfer form, if you're doing a 1035 exchange here, on Firelight, it will put a digital signature right there. I wouldn't do that. I would say 99% of the time, the company that receives this form goes, I want to see a wet signature. So if you're this section of Firelight, if you do fill out a transfer form, just go up, click display print, click the form you want to print, download that form, and then put your signature on it right there. And if you do the Firelight, we'll go ahead and submit the digital signature, but they're going to reject it. So do this as a backup, get it signed, and then just get this to us later on after you submit the app. Because in a day or two, hopefully they'll be approved. You mail it to us, we get it in a day or two, then we can send this form on. But once you do get a signature, you can scan it and email it to us. We don't need the original, we just need to see the wet signature on it. So let's say you get to the end of the Firelight app. Well, I'd like to say use e-signature, owner, agent. I always like being the agent. I like signing it first so the client can see I already signed it. You just review a couple things. You click that review, you move on. The cool thing about this, if you haven't used Firelight before, you don't need a touch screen. So you don't need to have an iPad or your phone or anything like that. You go to any computer, you just type your name in there and click enter, and it's signed. So that's really easy for your clients. So now that you, the agent, signed it, now it's time for the owner to sign it. Send email request or sign now. If they're with you, you can just spin your laptop around and they can sign it. But if they're not there with you, click send email request. You need to put in a couple of bits of information first, sign their name, sign their email, then the client's last four of their social and their date of birth. This is how the client logs in. So make sure you have that handy, or make sure you verify that with your client when you're typing it in there, because that's their password. You fat finger it, you type it in wrong, well, they won't be able to log into their app. So you get those four and you can send an email request. However, I work a lot on my computer. I've got my text messages pulled up on my computer. I do 3 screens. I can generate a link, and then I can just text that to my client. They get it right then and there. They can log in and sign it right there with their phone. Or you can send an email request. This works for me. I think it's easy. But once again, this is the email they will receive. Please use your date of birth and the last 4 to log in. Agents always call me, how do the clients log in? I'm like, read the email. It says use the last 4. So that's how the client signs it. And we are working on ways to make the transfer process, the wet signature thing, quicker. So hopefully next time we talk, we'll have more updates for you. I don't speak Spanish, but I did translate everything into Spanish. So if you guys need that, you can get all your brochures and everything in Spanish. Once again, our contracting is super simple. It's you log in through the portal. Then you start the application. You log in the portal. They'll send you an email. You get the email as the agent. Start the application. You can look at your comp schedule or start the contract application process. There's 11 steps. So you got to complete the first 10 steps. Doesn't take you long. Then the last step is watching a 3-minute product training video, and that's your product training. You don't need to go to another website or download this and sign things. No, you watch this video, you're good to go. And the video is pretty much everything I talked about here. Super easy. Then we'll run your background check, your credit check, your vector check. Hopefully we get it back within 12 hours or less. We'll approve you and you can submit apps. A lot of agents fill out contracting, let's say today, which is Wednesday, and then they go write an app. Well, we haven't got your background check and everything else done yet. We haven't approved you. So they write the app today and like, we can't take this. You have to write it after you're approved. So once you get a welcome email from us, then you can go submit your apps. We issue daily, we pay daily. So as soon as we get the funds, we kick out commissions and you'll get paid. So once again, here's all the states we're in. We do want to expand to get more states. Here's my information. So I'm the Executive VP of Life Annuities here. You can call my cell phone, 785-979-6086. Or I got a cool office line, but it does ring myself. I'm out here. It does bring my cell phone, 816-816-MYGA. Pretty simple there. And then Todd at hnlic.com. If you want that spreadsheet, you want the financials, shoot me an email. Happy to help you out. And that's about it.
Awesome. Thank you, Todd. That was some great information. All right. If you have any questions, folks, now is the time to send them in. Starting off with Todd, what do you believe is the strongest selling point of the Heartland MYGA?
I mean, it's just the guaranteed rate right now. We have no idea what the future is going to hold. So let's guarantee you that rate for that 10 years. I mean, and then our rate, if you are spreadsheeting it, we have the interest built in and the full account value at death built in. So there's no bait and switch. We're not trying to lure you in on a high rate and, oh, here's all your benefits. Now you get this low rate. We're agents. We try to make everything simple for you. So very strong rate with features built in is the selling point.
And just to confirm, what if the rates change after someone signs up?
So as long as they fund it within 45 days, and we can sometimes make exceptions if there's something crazy happening, but once that policy is issued, so right now the 10 years is 5.55. It doesn't matter if World War III starts, that client is still getting 5.55% for the next 10 years. Once you're locked in, you are locked into that rate. And that's the great thing about multi-year guaranteed annuities, because it's guaranteed for the multi-years.
Good to know. Good to know. And just a reminder, agents, that we do have Heartland in NFI's Firelight as well. So you can use the direct version on their portal, but if you want NFI to help scrub your application, then to definitely utilize ours. But as far as Firelight goes, do Firelight apps process quicker than paper, or is it the same for you guys?
It's probably a little quicker because we don't need to scan in the information. It's instantly sent over to us. Just make sure that if you're using your Firelight, the agent could go in and write a Heartland on your Firelight today, even though they're not appointed. So just make sure you're appointed first before you do Firelight.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it looks like we are out of time for today, folks. Thank you so much, Todd, for sharing your valuable insights today. We really appreciate your time and expertise. And thank you to everyone who tuned in. Partnering with NFI Solutions and Heartland National can bring your clients even closer to their financial goals. So if you're not already contracted with Heartland National, reach out to us at NFI because we're here to help you get appointed quickly. And if you have any other questions or need support, just give us a call at 952-887-1239. We're here for you every step of the way. Take care and have a great rest of your day, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Of course.